One. This is a video to show you how to download transactions, put them into the client's transaction log, and then of course send it to the client and get them to tell you what the transactions were for. I am in the sample company. I got to where I am now, banking and banking. And I'm here. As you can see, I have a variety of transactions. These are all sample transactions. And so we have checking, savings, and MasterCard. As you can see, this is the sample company. So the first thing that you want to do is take a look at the transactions yourself, because if it's at all possible, you want to resolve these before you give them to your client. You may want to include them and tell your client what you're going to do if you're taking a guess. But nevertheless, the idea is to do as much work as possible before you give it to the client. This is particularly true for transfers. So for example, if you transferred money from checking to MasterCard in order to pay your MasterCard bill, you could probably spot that pretty easily, and it's an easy thing to catch. You don't want to have the client doing any more than what they absolutely have to do. So now you want to download these transactions so that you can work on them. We generally work in Google Docs, particularly Google Sheets for this sort of thing, because it makes it easy to share. The way you do this is simply go over here to this icon. It says export to Excel, and you can see it did. And then I go to the next one. And again, at this point, I've checked to see that I can identify what these transactions are. If I cannot, then I export to Excel. And I come over here to MasterCard, and once again, I export to Excel. So it exports all these to 3 different Excel files, or CSV files actually. So now I can bring that back up. So I'm going to go to my this is the template for my transaction log. It's broken out between withdrawals, deposits, and a lookup which contains the information. So in this case, we would say we have a financial institution. I have 2 in my demo here. We go over here and look. You'll see that there's some of these are hidden. That'll come in handy in a few more seconds. Over here I go to the expense categories, because these are withdrawals. The class, you can select from the class, and then of course the grant. I highly recommend you ask them to say if there's no grant involved, because that forces them to look at this. Otherwise they'll miss it. Trust me, it happens all the time. If I look at deposits, you can see it's very much the same. Again, we have them hidden. We're only looking for the deposit column here. Again, categories. These are the income categories. Again, the classes, these are just dummy classes for us to use. Well, they're actually part of the regular formatting, but I don't have it broken down very far. And then, of course, grants. Again, I can take a look at that. What I do here is I simply go to File and make a copy. It asks me where I want to make a copy of this. I'm going to select the folder. And I'm just going to put it at my here, and then I am simply going to say that this is the sample client transaction log, and so it will put it into my, oops, I forgot to hit select, my bad. So I will say put it to here, and it'll create a new copy. I say make a copy. As you can see, it's doing that. Now I go over here, and what I want to do is to not have that open, because there's too much of a chance that I will mess up and work on the wrong one. So now I have the sample client transaction log. And now I'm going to upload the transactions. Here I'm at my head top level. I would probably go down to the individual client folder, but the principle is the same. So I want to do a file upload, not a folder upload, a file upload. It has taken me to my downloads, and so I'm going to say I want this, and I want this, and I want this, and I open them. As you can see, it's happily uploading. There we are. So let's take a look at the example Bank USA here. This is money received. I'm going to open a different one because I want more. There we are. So now I have, this is the bank account. I happen to know, if I go back and look at my bank transactions, that this is going to be my checking account, I believe. MasterCard? Nope, it's the MasterCard. Okay, so this is my MasterCard account. And let's go one more time. There we are. So now I have the checking account. My first transaction is $55. It's an easy check. Let's get rid of that. I don't want to work with that. Don't want to work with that. And so here I'm going and I'm saying, $55. So these are the same animals. I'm going to be tricky. Click here. Then I'm going to go here. See it changed. Double click and it sets the appropriate width so I can better read this. And then I'm going to go to View, Freeze, and freeze one row, which would be the top row. You can see that that changed. So now if I go up or down, that stays the same. So that's the first step in the process. Now what I want to do is I want to get everything that's received, which are deposits, in together and everything that is spent together so that I can put it in the appropriate spot here, because my withdrawals are money that's spent and deposits are money that are received. I come back over here. I simply click one of these columns. I go to Data, and then I say Sort Sheet, and I'm going to sort sheet by column F, which is the one I had selected. What that does is, because I had frozen this top line, that line does not sort, but it puts everything that I have received in the appropriate spot. So I go over here and I highlight these. I'm going to copy this. I'm going back to my sample client. Remember, that's money received, so those have to be deposits. And then I go over here to Date Cleared, and then I simply say Paste or Paste Special. And you can see that it's put it in the right columns. If I open this up, you'll see there's some extra columns there, but that's information I don't want to share with the client, neither do you. Now I have to come over here and let's say that this is the Wells Fargo Bank. And I simply copy that all the way down. Now I can give this to my client and they can start filling in the data. Let's go back to our example bank. We'll highlight here. These are the money expended. I copy it. I go back to my sample client. Now I go to withdrawals. Once again, I go to the date cleared column and paste. And you can see it does the same thing. And of course, it hides everything I don't want them to see. And then I come over here and once again, I say, hey, this is for the PayPal bank or the Wells Fargo Bank. Then I would put the credit card down here and then I would put the other. So you're only giving the client one sheet, one worksheet to play with. Once you've sent this to the client can now fill in this data for you. But you're going to share. You're going to click on Restricted. Anyone with the link, and you want them to be able to edit this. Now you copy the link and you create an email to send it to them using the link that you just copied. Now you are done. Send it to them and I ask them for a turnaround of 3 days. I use followupthen.com to help remind me and them that we have to do that, particularly them, because then the system is reminding them. When it comes back, because you've sent them the link, you can check this anytime to see if they've updated it, and then you can go through and do that. Oh, one more thing you might consider is to go to Tools, Notification Settings, Edit Notifications, and then you want, anytime changes are made, and I would suggest that you get a daily digest. You can see this is sending it to my email. This will go to yours when you create this, and then simply say save. At that point, you'll be notified when the client has made changes. You can come in and check to see if you have any questions at that point. That seems to be it. Thank you.